Ain't no use in me even doing the peace greeting this time. So let me get straight to it. Y'all saw the title. Miss Minaj Petty, you really don't get it, do you? See, I'm not going in on you about the way that you talked to Mr. Samuels, because you were actually very mature and polite. Let me start by giving you credit for that, because you deserve that credit. But the way that you spoke towards so-called hurt men that lash out on these channels, well, that was uncalled for. Now you might think, no, I mean, these guys are really negative, and no. We're not negative enough. And I'm not even counting myself amongst the hurt men that lash out. I do try to academically deal with this stuff. I don't tell men to do anything that harms women. I tell men, stop shooting your shot, be invisible, work, stack, get a passport, get a way to live abroad, and then go there if you want to start a legacy. The other option is if you want to stay in the West, you just got to stay by yourself, because it's dangerous. It just is, I'm sorry. That's the worst I tell men. But other men who actually do lash out, as long as they're lashing out at these ladies that actually did something to them, what is your issue? Or out there hurting other men, what's your issue with it? See, the thing is, Miss Minaj, and this is what all of this is built on. In the end, you as women have more options than men. And that's fine if you admit it and you know what to do with these options. And you as Nicki Minaj have had more options even than other women. And what did you do with them when you had them? Let's be honest. You fit the mold perfectly. You don't, and actually you didn't have to choose Drake if he's not your type. It's up to you on an individual level. But I don't actually believe that Drake was somehow unattractive to you, unless maybe there's something we don't know about, like he had chronic bad breath at that stage, and if that was the case, people would have talked about it. Or maybe if unless it was something like that. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't believe that you really looked and said, from your gut. I believe that you actually were looking at him through the hive mind. And the hive mind pretty much says, well, get somebody you can show off, and he's gotta have something wrong with him. And because I mean, and some would say, well, you know, black man, why are you speculating about it? And I admit this is speculation. I admit that, Miss Minaj Petty. I'm not jumping to conclusions, and I'm not gonna say anything that's going to provoke a lawsuit, let alone give you the grounds to win one. I'm choosing my words carefully. But the point is, if okay, it didn't have to be Drake on an individual level. It's not like you owed him and he owned you, but it had to be someone like him, and you passed that up. However many others there were like him, you passed them up. And what's funny is that in the end, you wound up with someone that fit a similar physical description, with none of the fame or fortune and a record to hold him back. That's not slam to there. These are legal facts. You selected a man who fits the same description. Not that you can't tell them apart, but who fits the same description, but without the money and the fame. A man you must carry and who you have tried to protect. That's who you had to choose. Even if you do like him and love him, that's what you had to choose. And let's look at what the options are. Because you see, women got two options. You choose wisely when you are young, and you deal with something that you don't want to deal with when you are young, because men are human just like women and are limited. And the other option, and you have to care about what these men want and need, unless, of course, you're willing to take the other option, which is you do the delivering and the provision and the protection. Carry that man. Let's be honest. Even when you chose that second option, you never once recommended that to other women. You never did so. And you didn't have to. You're right to not recommend that to other women. Vivica Fox pretty much explained why women usually cannot do that. I was married for a year and a half. I got sick of paying for stuff. You the one that had the money. Why not? See, there are these ladies who they were just too good, even for guys on their level. They were too good as far as they were concerned when they were younger. They just felt above pretty much any guy similar to them. And then later on, they had to marry down, financially speaking, maybe even in age. They're just going to have to pay and be some sort of sugar mama, with or without the marriage. They got to do exactly what it is that women don't want to do. You had to do it. Now, you may be ready and prepared to do this, but it's not something you would have wanted to do as a lady. But understand this, you had more options as a woman than any of these men you blasting for lashing out for being hurt, because see, men don't have the option to not be hurt. The closest they have to that, logically speaking, intuitively, is to not shoot the shot, but understand the consequences of that too. And if you want, I'll come back to that. So you got options. As a woman, you got them, and then as Nicki Minaj, you got more options even than other women. So you were the one that pretty much had any mate or any type of mate at your selection, your beck and call. And what did you do? From the beginning, you had that. You were spoiled for choice until you started to run out of choices. And understand this, I'm not saying any of this because you didn't pick me or because you wouldn't have picked me when you were younger or when I was younger. That's not why. And I know that that's one of the usual tropes. A lot of ladies that are listening are going to say that. The real reason I'm saying this ain't that. Because truth be told, before and after your surgery, you'd be shocked at the level of difficulty you would have encountered trying to get with me if you had chosen me. And some of it is within your control, and it is your fault. And some of it is not within your control, and it's not your fault. And I would never blame you for those things, because I do want to be fair. The reason I'm saying this, though, is because you want to hold hurt men accountable and skip women that aren't really truly as deeply hurt as they make out to be, like Steph Cole. They want to tell everyone to not value high-value men because she can't get a high-value man. Because she qualifies probably for a medium value man, and she looks at them the same way as she would look at an incel with a neck beard and no shower living in his mom's basement. She can't get the high value man because she ain't got the looks or the attitude. She acts like the options that she can't get are something that were owed to her by the universe, and the universe is committing blasphemy and a cosmic F-up by not giving these men to her. Conversely, men who are accomplished and in shape and nice to look at, according to women, by the way, like Drake, don't have options in the same ladies that describe exactly them when they're turning down lesser men, and don't have options in the women that have done the same things or have reached the similar levels and similar metrics. So, should he have laid down with a French porn actress and then with an Instagram model? No, he should not have. But let's also be honest, you know better than I do that better was not an option. See, those were the options, and this is for Drake. His mistakes were two. One, he had a crush on you. That's his error, not yours. Two, he told people this. He was open and he was honest. That was another mistake. What he should have done is he should have said, she's not checking for me. She's not coming after me. She's not shooting her shot at me. That's what he should have said. And then from there, he should have said, I'm not, even if I like her, she'll never know. There's so many others out there. Maybe then he would have had a different image in the eyes of other women, at least. Maybe then. What winds up being the case? French porn actress, Instagram model, burns herself trying to have his other baby. And he had talked about women trying to do this before, and people laughed at him and didn't believe him. That's one of the reasons he did this. And I salute him for doing that. You see, the thing is, if we're going to actually talk about fame like it's a metric by which somebody's value is going to be determined, not that I would do it, but since others are going to, this is an equivalent of Superman knowing that he qualifies for Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman saying, well, no, never mind, and then So he's supposed to settle for low as lame, not even lane, but lame. And then Wonder Woman turns around and gets with not even Lex Luthor, but Pookie Luthor, the broke cousin. That's what this is like. He's not Superman. Drake is a regular person, but his success is superhuman, much like yours. But the thing is that you didn't choose, nor did you decline these men based on your own preferences. You did it based on the hive mind. And how do we know? Frankly, the hive mind is the reason that any woman without a financial motive to take Drake or other men like him to the cleaners don't even see him. He's invisible to women that don't have a financial motive to take him to the cleaners and rake him over the coals. That's how bad this thing gets. So these become the only options available to him, the ones who have a financial motive. He's not the only one. Let's take men who actually did wind up with someone who didn't have a financial motive to do these things to them, and look how they're being treated. Jada's Pinkett Smith is not mistreating Will because he left another woman to be with her. She's mistreating Will because she's Jada. Nicole Irie Parker, sorry about that, ma'am. It's just you got that big old forehead. Jumps out at me sometimes. Nicole Irie Parker can't even show respect to Boris Kojo on a video call. And the ones with whom they were on the video call. Another example of this. Gabrielle Union wants to castrate Dwayne and Zion. And Zion's poor birth mother has to sit back and watch this. She's more concerned about do they like dark-skinned women than she is concerned about do they even like women. That's how bad it is out there. And these are, men that are at the top of their fields and they're in great shape financially and they're the tallest men and, they can't catch a break. So frankly, Mrs. Minaj Petty, what chance do you think we normal men have? We have a right to be heard and we have a right to lash out because, as I said, I'll come back to this that I was talking about. Even when men decide to take the intuitively safest option, which is to not shoot their shots and just leave ladies alone, eventually somebody notices that this man is never on a date. He never approaches. They start to wonder what kind of sick stuff he's into. The first rumor and this first speculation is going to be that he's into other men, but that's not illegal. And then when somebody gets upset with him, they can't necessarily use that to get him in legal trouble, so then they're going to throw out the other one, the one that's worse. The one that can get him arrested. And if that man gets arrested on something like that, and he's not properly secured in protective custody, even though the charges are false, he may not live to trial in prison. And if he does, he probably won't live till his release date, if the other inmates get a hold of him, and it could be for something he never did. There are guys that are actually in penitentiaries because they thought that a 17-year-old was 18. And they're in penitentiaries and they get their butts whipped when someone hears the charges and doesn't find the paperwork. So in other words, even it's bad. It's not safe for men unless they become invisible. Invisibility is the safest option for men, Miss Minaj Petty, partially because of the attitude of women like you. And this is why I say we are not the same. We do better with far fewer options than you did with more options than any other woman within your zip code. Don't say another further-mucking thing to us men about this. You go back to them ladies and tell them that we're not the same. Tell them to either care more about what men want and need, if we men are going to have to be the ones to deliver and to provide, or to go on ahead and just prepare to have to carry and provide and protect a man, which is ironically the option you never once recommended. Thanks for listening, and I hope this helps. I mean that. Black heart, black mind, black out. To the rest of you, assalamu alaikum. And black heterosexual non-select male power just because they don't like it. And black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.